Going on, guys? Bart here. Your boy Tully is here. And we're going to be getting into another comic book review today. We've been feeling our roots as of late. Maybe we drifted off from the original purpose, which is to show the love of comic books in this world. And I'm here to help you discover a comic book or two here and there. Of course, I'm going to be reviewing shows and stuff like that. That's never going to go away. That's all part of the pop culture. But I do love sharing my love for comic books here. And we're going to be getting into the Uncanny X-Men issue 15. Before we get into the review, though, I want to remind all of you how awesome and amazing all of you are. Not just because you're here viewing this video, because you're showing up to life and doing what you can do to make your life better. Maybe today wasn't your day. Maybe you dropped your Starbucks on the train. Maybe you had a little fender bender. Maybe you didn't get that Christmas holiday check like Griswold got, and you went to go on a crazy adventure, and all you got was a Cheese of the Month Club membership for the year. I don't know what it is, but tomorrow will be a better day. I promise you. But let me make your day today better, even if you are having a great day, and get into this issue of Uncanny X-Men, issue 15 here. It's supposed to be an Impossible Man variant cover, even though the Impossible Man has nothing to do with this story at all, or this title. This is going to be the second to last issue I review of this title, even though it is currently an ongoing series at like issue 20 or something like that. The reason why I'm doing that ahead of time, kind of warning you guys a little bit, is because the story that's going to happen after this Dark Artery story isn't going to be for me. This title, over the time I've collected it, has gradually not been for me as much as I thought in the beginning when I was reviewing this title. To me, there's not enough of... It concentrates a lot on the outliers here, the newer characters being introduced, that have been introduced over the last couple of years here, and not saying I'm against that. As you know, I like the Deathdream character. I like the Ransom character. But with all the crossovers that have to happen, and then having to deal with that, it kind of breaks up the monotony of the momentum of the story. And then I'm not getting enough of the characters I want from this story. Me being a Nightcrawler fan, you kind of get Nightcrawler in here, and like you kind of get Jubilee in here, Wolverine, but it's mainly concentrating on Rogue, Gambit, and these four outliers, so to speak: Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Jubilee. Don't necessarily feel like they need to be here in this story, and that's kind of frustrating for me because these are some of the characters that got me into comic books and everything. And if you're not going to use these characters in any sort of serious way, don't have them in there so then they can be spotlighted somewhere else. All right, so that's frustrating me. And then the Mutana story that's coming after this, in which a mutant is in a movie and they're being portrayed as a killer, and now that's going to be the most horrible thing ever in the history of mutantdom. That's the worst thing. Wolverine is sitting there acting like it's the worst thing that's ever happened. But let me just get into this story. We're dealing with the Dark Artery Part 3. Of course, written by Gail Simone. Art by David Marquez, and this cover is by David Marquez and Matthew Wilson. We learn the secret of the Haven House, so to speak. We learn what Lady Henrietta's job is, so to speak. in this issue, and we're introduced to like an elder type of creature here called Shavakarak. Shuvahrak. Shavharak. She's also known as the Voice of Darkness, and is looking for a replacement, so to speak, for what we're dealing with here. All right. We, though, start off with one of these Sentinel Wolf Pack wolves that we dealt with a few issues ago, waking up from that battle they had, and seems to be on the hunt. Are you telling me that that's been laying around the whole time? No one's came and claimed it after the battle? Okay. And what happened to the Dr. Ellis character? I was expecting more from that character, and we didn't really get much, in my opinion, about that character. But here's Lady Henrietta showing her powers, using her powers against that federal agent type of character who attempted to kill her guide, and these folks who are like the guardians of the Haven House at the moment make their appearance as Gambit and Rogue and the rest of the team go back inside after that fight with the ice dragon, so to speak, that Rogue had. She's warming up and they're asking where the kids are at, and the head of the house is explaining to them that they went to what is it called? The Penumbra. Penumbra. Okay, Penumbra. Lady Henrietta is guarding this place. We learn more about this place. We got a little man thing here. The Penumbra was created, presumably with the help of the Voice of the Dark, to any crime committed that made a mutant die, that soul is trapped in this area, the Penumbra. And the Voice of the Darkness, at this point in its existence, wants a replacement, so then the original Voice of the Darkness can go and do whatever the hell it wants to do. It seems like Deathdream is hearing the call and is looking to do the replacement, right? And I do like, though, the premise of that they're in this area, that their outfits would change to a darker attire, so to speak. We do get an appearance by this entity, so to speak. I do like kind of what they're trying to do here. Marquez, but we also see that Man-Thing is opening up the gateway again, so then our X-Men can wind up coming in later on in this issue and stuff, and help our students here. But we kind of get the backstory of what I was telling you, what the Penumbra is, and what the gist of what's going on here. And I have to say that, you know, I heard a phrase the other day in regards to something, and I think I'm going to kind of use this a lot more. There's some cool ideas in this place, in this story, but I just don't know, man. I just, you know, I don't know. I just kind of seem to have lost the sense of urgency for these newer characters, or at least for this book. They decide to, the X-Men decide, I'm sorry, I got a little confused. The X-Men didn't go yet. And so we're getting the souls of this place ready to attack our team. The original, or at least the Guardians of the Haven House at the time, and Lady Henrietta let the agent go, which was a stupid idea, with the promise he wasn't coming back. But he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back. So Deathdream here decides to take up the offer of the voice of the darkness, or the voice in the darkness, to become the replacement. He doesn't even care. He says, who cares about what he doesn't even care what happens to him, right? And so things start hitting the fan. The team kind of gets a little separated. Jitter and Calico tell each other that they love each other. And it seems like, in the long run, these four characters, what they seem to have in common is things related to death, okay? And some sort of power over death. And that gets explained throughout the story too. But we get our X-Men team here to back up our four outliers and kind of see what the hell is going on, because Gambit's familiar with this, Penumbra too, which is kind of a thing about when you're trying to play stories that have a connection to the past, and then trying to work out why no one said anything about that thing. Like, if Gambit knew about this graveyard of mutant killers and things that led to mutants being killed through other people's actions, that never came up once in anything. Okay, I guess. And then we end off with the Sentinel Wolf Pack making its way to the Haven House, and then we end with that page. So, in the final issue of this particular story, we're going to get the X-Men and the Outliers trying to get out of there and kind of just deal with the secret of the Haven House and what it represents and what it means for them. You know, you have the thing of justice versus vengeance, right? How long can you suffer for something before you're truly repentant? Or are you just repenting because you want the pain to stop? I appreciate that, subtext behind it. I like the fear, the thing of fear in this story, and how it can corrupt people in their actions, in their words, how they think, because of being afraid. We've all been afraid, and I think that that's some good themes to touch on. It comes in, ties in with the man thing, appearance and everything. So, that makes sense to that degree. Like I said, it's just been a lot of concentrating on these new characters that it is fine for the most part. It's fine, but it eventually became not for me, okay? Because I kind of want, more interactions with the other characters not being so heavily involved. I get in a team book, you can only, if you have a team of 7 or 8 people, there's only so much things that you can do in order to highlight all the characters, right? And there's stories that they're trying to tell. But when it's very heavy for only half of the team, and then the other half is just lingering in the background, then it just kind of becomes it just wound up, the reason why I started getting this book and wanting to see what was going on with it, especially after the Krakoan era, is because of wanting to see what happens with my guy Kurt. Here's Kurt, who led a team in Krakoa. He was used, brainwashed, and became an assassin for Orcus. He still deals with the hope. You would think that he's still dealing with that. And then I would have loved to see Legion show up in this series and kind of deal with the consequences and the repercussions of what happened with the whole thing, with the whole Krakoan thing, and we don't get none of that. I know Wolverine is kind of a bit overused. That's fine if they don't really, because there's been a lot of, story building with him over the years and decades because of being so overly saturated in books with him. But you even got Jubilee here, who was for a while a vampire, and then doing other things in her life, having an adoptive son. So there's a lot of things that you could deal with here that's not just about the four outliers and the perceived prophecy by Sarandag or whatever, the dragon, the ice dragon, that one of them is going to be the end of the world. We'll see, I guess, right? One more issue to go for this story. One more issue to go before we end this book for the time being and get into another story. So we're still doing Absolute Batman here. We're going to be getting into the old school comic book Excalibur. I got the first few issues here. I did a review on the Excalibur special edition that I'll try to remember to put in the description there. Let me know what you've been thinking of this story, though. Am I missing it? Am I just not as connected as I'm obviously not as connected as I used to be to this book. But is it a me thing? Or is it a book thing? Or is it a storytelling thing? You let me know down below. Because I wanted to give Gail Simone a chance here. But it seems like her writing's not for me. But until next time, peace.